I want to talk to you about Taycor Financial. So if you're looking for a business loan, Taycor could actually be a good lender for you this year. Okay. So this will be a quick review of the company, and I want to give you a few tips on how to really position yourself for approval real fast. Okay. So let me first talk to you about Taycor. Let's go back to Taycor Financial 101. What is it? So if you think about Taycor, I want you to think about a small business lender that specializes in equipment loans, leases, and working capital lending products. So you can see that Taycor actually has carved for itself a small niche in the business lending world. They don't really do all kinds of business loans, okay? So you're not going to get like traditional business term loans through a Taycor. Neither will you get actually a business line of credit, okay? But if you are really interested in equipment loans, let's say you're trying to really furnish your office, or you're trying to really get a business delivery vehicle or a business vehicle in general, Taycor can actually help you big time. And the company actually covers the whole country. So they have two offices, one in California and one in Massachusetts. So that's kind of cool. Okay. And what I love about Taycor is that even if you have bad credit or fair credit, they can still work with you. Not a problem. Okay. So when I say equipment financing through Taycor, what am I talking about exactly? Let's really drill down a little bit on that. So basically, Taycor actually provides several financing options for used or new equipment. So if you're trying to really get if you're trying to get used equipment, Taycor can actually work with you. Not a problem. Okay. So when I say equipment, I'm speaking about vehicles, software, technology equipment, machinery, construction, medical and dental equipment, agricultural equipment, and furniture. So we're speaking about tangibles, but also intangibles. Okay. So when you think about software, it's not like your usual equipment, right? So I'm speaking about funding, but I'm also talking about loans and leases. So that's the flexibility there. And we're speaking about equipment financing from $500 to $2 million. Interest rates that goes from 3% to 28% to be payable over 7 years maximum. Okay, and you could be funded within 24 hours. So if you are listening to me and you're looking for equipment financing and you want to be approved fast, think about Taycor Financial. One thing I love about Taycor here is that they also have flexibility in terms of payments. So Taycor may not ask you to have a down payment. So if right now cash is tight and you are trying to really count your pennies, Taycor can actually help you out because they're not asking you for a down payment. So they will finance 100% or even 105. So they will even finance like the extra expenses that come with equipment such as setup or installation or delivery. Okay, so Taycor will finance that for you. So let me first now break it down for you when I say equipment financing. So you have equipment leasing. We're looking at $500 to $2 million. Interest rates that goes from 4% to 28%, and you can be funded within 24 hours. Okay, maximum like at the earliest. What they do is that when it comes to equipment leasing, they look at the fair market value of the equipment to see what's the value of the assets as of the date of the loan approval. Okay, so that's kind of cool because that will dictate how much they want to charge you for monthly payments. You also have they have a pretty interesting feature that I love, which is the $1 buyout. Okay, so this option is actually great for you if you believe the equipment will retain value or have a long lifetime of use. So when the term ends, you purchase the equipment for $1 or 101, depending on the tax laws in your state. Okay. So, but remember, we're speaking about 7 years maximum. Okay. So you're not really getting the equipment overnight. You also have the 10% purchase option, which allows you to return the equipment or purchase it for 10% of the cost at the end of the term. So this allows you to retain or own the equipment while keeping the purchase cost low. Okay. So you can see that when it comes to equipment leasing, Taycor is really giving you options. Okay. Their whole idea is to give you options. So as a small business owner, that's what you want. You want to go to a lender that's giving you options. Okay. So you also have equipment refinancing. So besides equipment financing and equipment leasing, you also have equipment refinancing. And here the amounts we are speaking about the amounts go from 50K to $2 million. Interest rates actually is 6% to 28%, and loan terms to the 5 years, and you can be approved within 24 hours. Okay, so you can really refinance larger equipment loans with Taycor Financials, not a problem. You also have equipment sale leaseback. Here we are looking at amounts that go from 100K to 1.5 mil, and interest rate 6.5% to 28%. Terms 2 to 5 years, and funding time within 24 hours. So when I speak about equipment sale leaseback, basically you are leasing the equipment back to Taycor after selling it for a cash infusion. Okay, so that's actually the process here. Now, what working capital products does Taycor Financial offer? Because if you remember, I told you that they actually have equipment financing, but they also have equipment leasing, but they also have working capital. Now, when it comes to working capital, they do have business loans and lines of credit, but it's not, and they also have other small business loans. But the reason why I didn't really mention that at the beginning is because they do this on a case by case basis, and it depends on your geography to your city and state or your county, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so Taycor Financial actually likes to localize their lending process. So when I say business term loans, you are speaking about $5,000 to 1 mil, and factor rates here you're looking at 105 to 136. So that's like a give or take 5% to 36%. And the terms here are 4 months to 5 years, and funding time as soon as 24 hours after approval. So again, you can see that Taycor is really fast in terms of approving and funding your business. Again, no time wasted. They want to get you the cash real fast, so you can really do whatever you have to do with the cash. You also have business lines of credit. So here you are looking at $10,000 to 1 mil, factor rate 0.96 to 135, and terms 6 to 18 months. And funding time, once again, as soon as 24 hours after approval. So that's really good. You also have other small business loans in the working capital products that Taycor Financial offers. And when I say other small business loans, I'm speaking about revenue-based financing. So here I'm speaking about merchant cash advances, accounts receivable factoring, accounts receivable financing, as well as other loans, especially SBA loans. So if you think about Taycor Financial, the qualifications for approval, for loan approval, are pretty flexible, and they're pretty low too. Like Taycor is not really strict when it comes to, because see, the thing is, equipment financing is by nature a collateralized loan agreement or loan process. So the risk is actually lower already to the lender, right? Because they know if something were to happen, they'll just have to repo the assets. Okay. So, for instance, with the Taycor Financial equipment financing, you got to have a credit score that starts from 500 to 550. That's the minimum. Time in business, 2 years for most customers. Okay, but the company does have a startup financing program, and in terms of revenue, it doesn't really matter because again, this is a collateralized loan process. Okay, so what matters more is the assets. In terms of business term loans, you're looking at personal credit score that starts at 500, time in business 3 months, and annual revenue $96,000. So $96,000. This is like $8,000 a year, a month. Okay. You also have a business line of credit and personal credit score of 560. That's the minimum. Okay. Time in business 6 months, and annual revenue $55,000. So those are really so long story short, you can see that the criteria that Taycor Financial has are pretty flexible. They're not really they're not really a bad, how do I say it? They're not a totally unreachable sort of set of criteria. Okay. And one thing I want to say is that here, just remember that the APR that I just said to you a little earlier, some APRs are in terms of they come in the form of interest rates, like percentage, and some APRs are in the form of factor rate. So For instance, when you have a factor rate of 1.2, that's basically 20%, give or take. Again, the calculation is a little complex, but I just wanted to summarize it for you so that you can really have an idea. Okay. And with Taycor Financial, you also have an origination fee that goes from 0 to 5%. Okay. And for lines of credit, origination fees are between 0% and 3%. So this is something to really think about. So now that you have listened to me and you probably understand what Taycor Financial does and how they roll, how do you apply? How do you make sure that you maybe qualify for their equipment financing, equipment leasing, equipment refinancing, or sale leaseback, or even their working capital products? Okay, depending on what your needs are, right? So what you want to do is just do everything online. Taycor Financial is an alternative lender. They don't have offices. They don't have branches you can go to and talk to someone. Like I said to you a little earlier, they have offices in two states in California, so for the West Coast, and Massachusetts, like Boston, for East Coast. Okay, East Coast clients. So you can call, and that's more for convenience when a client is calling. Like when a client is calling the office, like if you're in the East Coast or anywhere in between, you call between normal working hours, like 9 to 5, okay. And if you're on the West Coast, do the same with the California office, okay. So that's why I was just telling you, just go to their website and just fill out whatever information, whatever form they have there, okay. So you just have to enter your company's info, yourself, all the basic info, and then you have to choose a program. You have to choose the program that actually works for you, right? So basically, you're speaking about like I told you, I give you the program like financing, leasing, refinancing, sale, leaseback, or whatever. Just remember one thing: anytime you want to have a transaction, let's say a loan process or a leasing process that goes over $400,000, basically the documentation is more convoluted, more complex with Taycor Financial. Okay, so I'm talking about business tax returns. They will ask you for business tax returns, personal tax returns, financial statements, and business bank statements. Okay, so this is an important element. So, and also remember that if you are a well qualified customer, you can apply with a low doc application, so a low documentation application. So if your FICO score, for instance, was above 700, you can actually go with a low documentation, okay? And so once you actually apply electronically, Taycor will also use electronic documents that you can sign to finalize the loan. Once you sign and return the required documents, they can fund your loan within 24 hours. Like I said, within 24 hours. So let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of Taycor Financial this year. If you are considering this lender, what can you think about in terms of advantages? Well, you have the easy application and the lightning fast funding time. Think about it. You get funded within 24 hours, okay? This is really good already. So also, Taycor Financial offers a variety of lending products, including multiple equipment financing options, right? From financing to leasing to refinancing to sale leaseback. And they also can fund up to 100% of the equipment cost, which is really good, right? So you can save your money when it comes to down payments. You don't have to make any down payments. They will finance you like 105, even 105, 100% or 105%. And you can also borrow a large amount, like you probably heard me, like I said, $2 million. That's actually the maximum, okay? So this is kind of helpful because when you think about $2 million, this is helpful for equipment loans, equipment purchases. The thing is that when it comes to equipment, you're not just thinking about the actual value of the assets. Like I said, you have to think about all the extra costs, all the ancillary costs. So if you have delivery of the equipment, setup of the equipment, maintenance of the equipment, all that kind of stuff. So this is important. And one thing I also want to say here is that basically you have lower qualifications that are offered for loan approval. So you have a low credit score minimums, okay? And also, basically, you have a combo of financing if you need to acquire equipment and working capital at the same time. So this is pretty good. So what are the disadvantages? Well, their rates can be expensive. Their APR, their factor rate can be expensive. They also charge you a loan origination fee. Sometimes they call it loan origination. Sometimes they call it loan documentation. Okay. So they charge that. And sometimes they charge both, actually, both documentation fees and origination fees. And they charge those on working capital. Okay. And also in terms of transparency, Taycor Financial could do better. Like they don't have a lot of info about their rates, their fees, all that kind of stuff on their website. Okay. So pros and cons, if you think about Taycor Financial, pros: easy application and lightning fast funding times. You have a variety of equipment financing and working capital products, multiple equipment lease options, possible to get 100% of equipment costs financed, competitive rates for equipment loans and leases, okay? And you can also combine equipment financing and working capital products. And I'm not even talking about large borrowing amounts and low credit score requirements, okay? As low as 500. So if you have bad credit, don't worry. I got your back, okay? You can certainly get funded through Taycor Financial. On the flip side, if you think about Taycor Financial, think about high rates for working capital loans, okay? Origination fees, documentation fees, lack of transparency on their website. So if you think about Taycor Financial, do I recommend Taycor Financial? Yeah, I definitely recommend Taycor Financial. They've been around for a while now. Okay, the company is well structured. The company has been financing hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions of dollars in transactions for the last 10 years. Okay, I mean they've been around for more than for nearly 30 years. That's a lot because they actually started in 1997. So that tells you this is a legit company. Okay, this is not a rookie. So you can actually trust Taycor Financial to get you the loans that you really need. Okay, again, we're speaking about a maximum of $2 million. And one thing I want to say here is that basically the reviews are also great about Taycor Financial. You're looking at customer service, check. Okay, you're looking at funding approval speed, check. You're looking at actually guidance throughout the loan application and afterwards, check. Okay, so you have a lot of possibilities. And one thing I want to explain to you is that if Taycor doesn't really approve your application, you'll still got choices. I mean, it will be good if you apply with them for them to approve you because you probably saw something to actually apply with them. Okay, so but if they don't approve you, you can also if they don't approve you for one specific product, you want to read the denial letter and see exactly what they put in the denial letter. And sorry, if they actually mention certain things you can fix, okay, go ahead and fix them, okay? Or you can apply for an entirely different product. That way, you can see, like, if you wanted to have a lot of credit and they denied you, you can try a working capital loan or a term loan, for instance. Okay, you can diversify your application programs, or you can just go to another lender. You can go to another lender. I mean, Taycor Financial is a great lender, a little expensive, but they're a great lender that's been around for 30 years. And if they don't want you, well, you have the possibility to actually look for other lenders who will be willing to work with you this year. In conclusion, today's conversation, I spoke to you about Taycor Financial. I give you the pros and cons of this company, what kind of equipment financing products they actually offer. So financing, leasing, refinancing, sale, leaseback, and what kind of working capital products does Taycor Financial actually have, from business term loans all the way to working capital loans. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will speak to you another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.